The superpower that every citizen has is the ability to control where they spend their time, money, and attention. By focusing these on supporting local businesses, you are having a profound impact on your friends, your family, and your local community. So if you want to change the world, you can start with buying local.
Welcome back, everyone, to Buying Local, or if this is your first time listening, each episode we interview local business owners, local businesses, support staff, really just trying to amplify the voice of people that are in our community and doing some fun, cool stuff. And speaking of fun, cool stuff, here today with the team over at DK Advanced Technologies in Fort Edward, New York. DK is doing some cool stuff, but amongst those, they have a beer bottling and canning machine, what we're going to talk about. Not for homebrew use, though, right, guys? Or can homebrewers do it?
Sure, they can. And it's not just beer either, by the way.
That's true. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, that was silly of me. So I'm just going to kind of go around the room. Let's, why don't you guys introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are. Start with you, sir.
I'm Scott Lufkin. I'm the engineer here, I guess, is my title.
The engineer.
Jordan Wood, technician, I guess you'd want to call it. Customer service.
Extraordinary.
All around good guy.
Yeah.
And Doug Ernenwein, sales manager.
I just realized we're also recording this on audio, and I'm like leaning in and basically blocking you guys completely. So
That's okay.
Nobody wants to see Doug.
No one wants to see that.
It's fine.
So, guys, tell us a little bit about DK Advanced Technologies. How long you guys been around doing what you're doing?
Yeah, DK Advanced Technologies kind of spun off when our boss, Dan, who owns DK Machine, decided to become kind of a silent partner in a brewery, local brewery. And it was kind of formed because we didn't realize there'd be such a demand for the bottler he produced to help that brewery out. It kind of just took off one day, and he decided to create this sister company and called DK Advanced Technologies. We've done a few things. Drive shaft yokes for the pulling truck industry, pulling tractor parts, stuff for the breweries. You name it, just kind of exploded.
And so now your main product, though, is the MicroBottler, the canner, and I said beer, but really it's craft beverage, right? So it's not just beer. It could be soda, it could be coffee, it could be anything you want to put in a bottle or a can, basically, right? If it's
the machine is built to fill carbonated liquids. So, and it also can work with still liquids, but the design of it was around filling carbonated liquids. So that's soda, kombucha, beer, obviously, was the main target.
Yep.
But we found there was a lot of other things out there that needed the same type of equipment.
Yeah. And so now you started off the MicroBottler, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was the first foray into packaging.
Yeah, well, we built the first MicroBottler was like a little science project here. And because the brewery that the boss was associated with needed one, there wasn't anything that you could buy. So we built it, and then people started coming into their brewery going, where'd you get that thing? Because that's exactly what we need. So we decided we'd just spin off and start making them.
Yeah, see, at that point, DK Advanced Technologies wasn't even a thing yet, right?
No.
You were still just DK Machine at that point.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And were you here for DK Machine as well?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was, I guess you'd call it shipping and receiving when this kind of started coming around. And we were only a bottler back then because that was really, about 10 years ago, that's really what everybody wanted. Craft beer went in bottles. Cans were kind of considered cheap. Coors Light comes in cans, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was only a bottler when we first started because that's kind of what the market wanted. Obviously, now we know that changed quite a bit, but...
Yeah, now it's flip-flopped, right? And so more recently, you guys have gotten into the canning side, right? And I know that's something big that we wanted to talk about, is really moving into the canning and improving the machine that you have. It's funny because I think about Racket River Brewing and about how excited they were about the big chucks. That's all I keep thinking about, is big chucks.
Yeah.
But so tell us about the canning machine. Like, what does it do?
So the canning machine is actually the same machine. It's an attachment that goes on it. It allows you to two things. It allows you to fill cans using counter pressure, which is important for carbonated beverage. And it also has a seaming attachment, which uses big chucks. And what that means is we use the same tooling as all the big machines out there, industry standard stuff like Anheuser-Busch uses. Ours is the same exact tooling. So it's pretty robust for the industry we're in, which is micro, small time stuff. These,
Yeah, it could fit on a tabletop.
yeah, the machine is small, and but I mean this seamer will last nearly forever in this application because it's designed to last, putting out.
In the event of nuclear holocaust, cockroaches and the seamer.
Our seamer, yeah, there'll be cockroaches crawling around on
the
our
seamer.
seamer.
That's what would survive.
That's all that's left.
Okay,
Yep.
that's perfect. That's good to know.
I promise.
Wow.
No, let's just hope we never have to.
We're gonna edit
find
that
out.
out.
Yeah, no, we don't. We don't edit it. So big chucks, seaming. But so tell me about I don't really understand the whole canning thing. So what is it? Like, what is the canning process for getting a craft beverage? And let's just use beer because that's the easy one and most people drink it, right? Like, how do you get it into the can? Like, how does the seaming it's carbonated? Like, what goes down?
So you have to seal, but the filler has to seal to the top of the can, and then you have to pressurize the can, and that's what counter pressure filling means. You're so like if you take beer and you pour yourself a beer out of a can, right? Usually when you open the can, it's a big pressure drop and it'll start to foam sometimes. And then if you agitate it pouring, it'll foam even more. Well, we can't have any foam while we're filling, or not much. So the idea is you pressurize the can and you bring the beer into a atmosphere that's at a higher pressure than the one we live in, so to speak.
You can tell he's an engineer because I don't understand anything that you just said. But it sounded like you were like, this is common knowledge, everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, right. Like, even my kids understand this, Mike. And they're two.
We pretty much use counter pressure and temperature to keep the CO2 that has infused itself into the liquid in the liquid. Right, you don't want to pour a beer fast in your glass because it'll be flat. You don't want to fill it fast into the container you're trying to seal in can or a bottle in this case.
Is the beer already carbonated?
Yes.
And then, so you're putting carbonated beer, and while you're doing that, you're also adding more CO2 in there? Is that the counter pressure? No.
Only as a purge to make sure there's no air in there.
Okay.
You don't want oxygen in the can either.
Yeah.
Air is the enemy.
Yep.
Air is the enemy.
Because it'll change the flavor of the beer. If you put air, and what happens is it keeps fermenting, and it'll change the flavor of the beer in the can.
Shelf life won't be as long.
Interesting. Okay, so counter pressure.
Yeah. So all every setup is different, right? Every brewery, every cidery, every craft beverage industry building and setup is vastly different. So Scott pretty much designed this thing to work on kegs, bright tanks. It's small, it's portable, fits through a standard doorway. It does any bottle size, any can size. And we have to make it that way so it fits any customer we run into.
Yeah.
So pretty much what usually happens, the majority of our customers are out of a tank or a keg. It's already carbonated. The kegs are either in a cold room or the tanks are chilled. We hook up to that. We control the pressure in the tank or keg with our machine. That pressure that Scott had been touching base on is what keeps the CO2 in the liquid. It doesn't allow it to escape. Like, even if you pour a beer in a cup, when you're done pouring it, you still are watching the bubbles form on the side of the glass and come up through the liquid. We're controlling that. We put it into our can, in this case, bottle, whichever, and through counter pressure, and then we roll it down and seam it, seal your can or bottle.
How does the seaming, because that's something that really interests me, right? Is how that whole seaming thing works.
Yeah, I didn't even understand that when we got into this. I had no idea. So a can is only the body, and at the top of it there's a little rim, and then the end is a separate piece, and it sits on there. So what we do is we fill the can with no end on it. It's just an open-ended cylinder. We seal on the top of it, we fill it, and then we move down. It'll pick up the lids as it passes by, and the end sits on there, and then you spin while the can is spinning. You bring in little wheels that form. It's a 2-step process to form this seal at the top of the can that makes the end appear to be one piece with the rest of the can.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because I like
you can't take it apart.
And like once I saw it
destroying
happen,
it.
I went and like started looking at cans as I'm drinking them.
Yeah.
Only like 2 a week. But I was like, I'm like, man, like you really can't even tell that there is a seam there most of the time. That
Right.
that it was a completely separate thing. And it's fast. I'm like, so how do they get it in there?
Right. Yeah, people assume that when you, if I mean, most people don't even think about how to fill a can, right?
Right.
Only how to empty one. So, but if they do think about it, you would assume like you'd pull the little tab closed after and seal it somehow or something. You know, it just seems like that's how it would
do
have
they use
to be.
magnets? They pull it up.
Right. You know, the whole end is one piece and with the seal unbroken, and you put it on there and seam it.
Seam it.
Seems like a good idea.
Seams. Yes. I see what you did there.
Yes.
Nice one.
Solid.
Solid.
Dad,
Solid.
dad jokes for
Dad
days.
jokes. So, how many of these machines do you guys think that you do a year, or a month, or a week? Like, what is it like?
It depends.
Depends on how hard Doug's working, really, is
Ooh,
what it
Doug,
comes
is
down
that
to.
why he's so
He's
quiet
the
over
sales
here?
guy, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
stops talking when we talk about numbers.
Pretty much averages out to be about one a week.
Okay.
Some weeks are super swamped. Some lulls happen just like any other business. But
Yep.
it pretty much averages out to be one a week.
And who are the kinds of people that you're buying? I mean, obviously, you know, I think you got a couple local placements with breweries.
Yeah, we have quite a few local actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like our local ones because we're able to, like, if we want to test some new thing out, we can just call them up and say, hey, we want to put this on your machine.
Yep.
Can we try it? And they
It's nice for them.
usually will let us, right? Because it's usually an improvement of some sort, or else
Yeah.
we wouldn't be doing it. So we like the local.
We got
breweries.
something that's gonna make your machine worse. You mind if we come and put it on?
Yeah.
This is going to slow you way down. You mind?
But then, we have a crated machine out there now going to Vietnam on Monday.
kidding.
So,
So
we're
so
going to
worldwide.
branch out all
Worldwide, yeah.
across the world.
Oh, yeah.
Machines in
really
Australia. We already have
Vietnam,
another one in Vietnam.
Mexico, Alaska,
Yep, South America,
Lots in
Central
Canada.
America,
Canada, you know.
up in Canada.
Canada.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The land of the round bacon.
The round bacon. So, I mean, it's good for sandwiches.
It's terrific. All bacon's good.
That's true. All bacon is good. So tell me a little bit about, like, how are these people finding you? You know, you're selling machines. Is it all the internet? I mean, is it your amazing marketing company?
I wouldn't go that far.
Let's tone down the amazing part.
Yeah, all right,
okay?
all right.
This was very new to us.
Yeah, we have no idea really
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Does anybody really?
Dan's other business doesn't need marketing.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's
when
a
we got-
contract machine shop.
So when we got
not a
into
thing.
this and didn't even really know if it was going to be a thing or not, we pretty much just started going to shows, CBC, for example, and the response was overwhelming. So for a while, it was kind of just word of mouth. Like I said, we didn't really know how to get into how do you find us in a Google search,
Yep.
or how are you going to look for us if somebody does mention our name without just calling us one day, because it's what we were used to is
Yeah.
customers calling us.
I mean, honestly, that's our struggle right now. Is like we travel around New York State, and there's tons of breweries that have never heard of us, and I
Right.
think, how's that even possible? But it's the way it is. I don't know how. I don't know how you become the first thing that pops up on Google, but
Right.
that's what we would like to be. And
Pay lots of money.
yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
I googled some term the other day that I thought should have popped us up.
Yeah.
It was like 14 pages later. I was finding recipes for pickles and still hadn't found us. So
You know what's interesting too? I found a lot of home brewing stuff pops up when you start looking for
Yeah.
bottle and canning machines and things
Small
like that.
scale.
Because there's so much content on the internet about home brewing,
right,
right?
forums
Like,
and
Yeah,
stuff.
forums and it's just like, so you know, you have to add the word commercial in there, and then even it's interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's everything from the cold calling to emails to text to on the road.
Yeah,
to
we've been
shows,
doing some road
to
trips lately, trying
Yeah.
to get a word
Somebody
out
wants
there.
to see us, or schedule a demo, or
we try to meet up with them and go to a different customer's location, meet up with people.
There's customers out there that are
customers.
struggling and they need our product, and instead of getting it there, either spending, you can get mobile canning to come in and do your
Yeah,
stuff.
that was something too we want to talk about, right? Is like I understand there's a lot of mobile canning solutions out there, but it sounds like that might be good in some scenarios, but in a lot of scenarios, it also kind of sounds like you might have a better solution. Help me understand that.
Well, I think mobile canning, it works well short term. So like if you're just getting going and you need to get some cans, you just don't have the time to sort it all out.
Yep.
Sure, have mobile canning in a few times. At least you get some cans out there. But once you get to a point where you're making beer or whatever your product is, you got kind of an even keel going, and you need cans or bottles, you're kind of wasting money to keep hiring them over and over again when you could just be paying for a machine that once it's paid for continues to work for free,
Right.
So to speak.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be a number on that equation, right? Where it's
Right.
like what it's costing you for mobile canning, what the machine costs meet up, and then
Right.
the machine starts to take over.
Right.
I would imagine.
Right. The machine then becomes whatever you were making for a payment now goes into your bank
It's
account
profitability
instead of keep paying it to a mobile can.
How long of a timeline do you think that is?
The payoff time?
Well, yeah, like is it like a year doing mobile canning versus, or is it?
I guess it's hard to answer because it would depend on how many cans a
What your
week or
volume
whatever
is.
you want to do. So if you're doing, a few cases a week, it's going to be a long time. But most places are doing, 15, 20 cases of beer a week, and I would guess with them it'd be less than a year. You'd be making money off the thing.
Yeah, mostly recently a customer had told us with their canning machine they purchased from us, it took them about a year to kind of be, profitable with that machine. It's paid off, and now they're just making the money.
And now they're just making the money.
And you figure comparing it to mobile canning, you're not losing the money that you're paying on the machine. It's kind of dollars to donuts.
Well, you
there.
end up with an asset, right?
Right.
At the end of it, as opposed, it's like renting a home versus buying a
Right,
home, right?
right.
Like,
Yep.
It's at some point in time, you're just renting, you're just throwing money out the window. But
Right.
Like Jordan tells our customers all the time at shows and things like that, if you want to go in and refill your cooler out front, you can do that with our machine. You're not waiting for somebody to come in and kind of run 10, 15 cases.
Yeah, you can throw a keg on there. You could do even half a keg. You don't have to do all of it. You can do whatever you want to. Most mobile canners now are requiring like 20 barrels of beer in order to make it worth the time to haul in their equipment. So a lot of these little breweries, they either can't do that or else they're brewing and brewing and brewing and storing all this
saving
beer
it up, so to speak, yeah.
because their systems are small,
Now, do I remember? Was there like a was someone doing like a to-go option, like a crowler or something like
Yeah.
that? So with your machine, where they could like literally pour a beer from the tap and then put the top on the can, and then people could take that can to go with them.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, COVID was crazy.
Yeah, that was during COVID.
Yeah,
right?
it was. Everybody's tap rooms were shut down, and I mean, we literally just had people canning any and everything they could in whatever batch setup they could get to sell outside on the street.
There was businesses that if they didn't have a way to can and like Jordan says, literally selling them on the sidewalk out in front of the store, people would drive up and buy it, and if they hadn't been for that, they'd have been out of business.
Yeah, yeah. I do remember having some conversations with a few people about that. That really having that option saved their business.
Yeah.
So I know we're talking a lot about canning because that's kind of the popular thing right now, but I don't want to skip past the fact that this one machine is pretty versatile, right? Like it goes back and forth between bottle, canning, carbonated, non-carbonated beverages. Like, can you kind of give me a quick rundown as far as that goes? Like, what's it entail?
Yeah, so
Like, is it a major thing to switch from canning to bottles?
No, so pretty much, say you called and ordered a machine. I'll run this down two ways. Say you called and ordered a machine, and canning's huge right now. That's all you ordered. You ordered a canner from us. You get it. You're happy with it. You love it. The market starts changing, or you do a specialty run during Christmas in 750s, and you want it in bottles, whatever the case may be. You then just call us and say, I have your machine. I would like to do bottles. What's that entail? Doug would sell you a bottling retrofit. The whole machine's modular. So you literally get this crate of parts. It bolts right onto the machine. you're up and doing bottles. Once you have that bolted onto your machine, it doesn't come back off, so there's not a lot of putting on, taking off, change out. And then, like, once you have it, say you bought an all-in-one, it does bottles and cans on the same machine. Changeover's literally 5-6 minutes once you get the hang of it. It's 2 Allen wrenches and a 1/2-inch wrench. Everything stays right on the machine. The seamer just slides up on a rail system up and out of the way to do your bottles pass through, and vice versa. When you're ready, you bring the canner down to the height you need it for, and you start canning again. It's really simple.
Once you've done it a few times and got the hang of it, you could throw a keg on there. You could can 2 cases of cans. Actually, you could do a case of 12 ounce, a case of 16 ounce, a case of 19 ounce, and then switch over and do 12 ounce bottles almost as fast as I just said that. It's really that simple.
Now, and do you have to be like mechanically inclined? I mean, I know a lot of brewers, to be honest, are pretty smart people, because brewing beer is not as
science.
easy as some people. Yeah, it's science, right? There's a lot of freaking math that goes down and that stuff. Do you have to be mechanically inclined? Like,
No, it's...
I mean, look at Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I work on them. I was just going to compliment you.
I take it
No,
back.
go ahead.
No, Scott did a good job designing this. So there's really, like, we say changeover lightly. The valves are the same. Doesn't matter if you're bottling or canning. Just the very end of it screws off and gets replaced. So you're
And it
talking
just
about...
screws off with your hand,
Yeah, so you're talking about bottle or can adapters, whichever you're filling. A lid presenter on the machine if you don't need it on the machine because you're doing bottles, 2 bolts, it's off. If you need it on the machine because you're doing cans, 2 bolts, it's on. And setting the height for your seamer. It's pretty much that simple.
2 bolts. And
Yeah, it's literally that simple. If you're doing 19.2s, you put it to the 19.2 setting, you're doing your 19.2 cans. If you're doing 12s, you put it to your 12 setting, you're doing your 12-ounce cans. Same with bottles.
if you had to switch can ends, if you were doing a 200 versus a 202 or a crowler, that would take longer. Because you'd have to reset up the machine, which is a little complicated, to be honest. But
it's not impossible.
Right.
So you have that option. So you want to do your standard 16-ounce IPA in your cans, and then you want to switch it over and do a seltzer you made in a 200 style slim or sleek can. It's as simple as changing out the totes and putting the new ends on your seamer, and you're up and doing your new can.
So, the first thing that comes to mind as you guys talk about this is, it sounds like you can pretty much do any bottle, any can, any size, any stuff. Is that standard for the industry?
No.
No.
Are all the other machines out there doing the same kind of stuff?
No.
No, it's pretty unique, actually. Bottling, remember we started in bottling, and in the bottling world, especially if you want to do a different bottle, and I mean like go from a long neck style to a medicine bottle style, you had to buy all new tooling for that machine, which in most cases was like half the price of the machine again, and a lot of times, depending on the brand, a lot of them you had to have them come in and do it for you because it just was too involved of a setup for an average person to do it,
Yeah, so we just had a local customer, so they switched bottles, switched crown tops from 26 to 29s, needs new, adapters for the crown capping. Send him the 29 millimeter adapters. He sent us 4 bottles. We got him new totes. Now he's doing a different bottle on the same machine within, we'll say a week of getting the parts.
And I don't know, a few $100s, maybe with totes, maybe $400 or something.
Yeah.
Whereas some of our competitors, if it's even possible, it's thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and then
If it's even possible.
right?
If it's possible.
Well, cans and bottles on the same machine, I don't know of any. I think we're the only one.
We used to have, when we like Scott said, we were bottles mainly when we started. So when we got into that, we'd be at these shows and we'd have customers come up, or potential customers come up to us and go, "Oh, my whatever machine, I just wanted to go from 12 ounce to 16 ounce bottles, and it was almost $5,000. They had to come set the machine up, and now I can't put it back to 12s.
Right.
So we're committed to 16s.
Well, and if you do, it's $5,000 to go back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot. I mean, if COVID taught us a lot, but if one thing it taught us is can and bottle shortages are a thing. You'll get whatever you can get your hands on in that particular moment, and the machines have to be very versatile and ready to accept the changes you make to them. So
Yeah, we had
set up.
customers during COVID that were ordering. They'd buy cans and can ends, and then everything was great, and then they would order again the same exact thing.
Yeah, same
They wouldn't
supplier,
get-
same numbers.
They wouldn't get the same thing. They'd get a totally different end because
They're just filling orders
it's
at
what
that
the
point.
supplier could get their hands on, you know. So if we weren't able to accommodate all these different sizes and different styles, then you'd just had to.
You'd be dead in the water.
Yeah, you'd either be searching.
After spending money on the machines, you'd be
Yeah.
dead in the water. You wouldn't even be able to use them.
We had a customer of ours that bought our machine to be a mobile canner. Call us that scenario, and he's like, I don't know what's going on. Same numbers, same supplier, same everything I've had this whole time, years. We got problems. What's going on? He was able to send us his lid. We were able to send it to our supplier for the ends. They told us this isn't the right lid. This is now the new lid he's got. We were able to get him hooked up with the new dies. Yeah, he was down a little bit, but at least he wasn't out all that money. Now he has dies that do both those style lids if that ever happened to him again.
Wow.
And he was able to keep going in, and because during COVID, he was the saving grace for these guys that don't have their own way to can or bottle.
I would imagine a mobile canning solution, like your machine, would be the perfect machine for a mobile canning solution.
Yeah,
for
we
people
have
that are doing it.
2 or 3 out there that are doing
Yeah.
mobile canning. Guys put them on trailers. They
Yeah, you
take
literally
to
put them in a
place.
landscaping trailer,
Yeah.
like an enclosed one, right?
Yeah.
And then wheel it out when you
Yeah.
get there into the location,
Yeah.
do your thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
We actually have a
Quick
few
setup.
more than that. We got quite a few now that are mobile canning, bottling.
yeah.
But yeah, it's
and the marketing of craft beverages, all the craft beverages, is all about like different. Everybody wants a different kind of bottle or a different
look.
size can or whatever, you know. So with our machine, you can do that. You can, as long as you know ahead of time and you get because it uses a tote system that holds the bottles or the cans. So as long as you have totes that are the right diameter to hold that thing, you can fill it.
And you designed this thing?
Yeah.
Someone gave you an idea and you built this thing?
Yeah.
We don't
Man.
talk about that?
We don't need to.
No. I mean, it's pretty ingenious.
it's impressive.
Yeah, right.
It's
I
even
didn't-
better. Sorry, go ahead.
When we started in this, like I said, our boss wanted to build a thing to fill beer bottles with bottles in. I had no idea. I didn't even know how a crown cap worked.
Right.
Like they're crimped on. You know?
Yeah.
And I never thought about that before. And then I had no idea what counter pressure was, how to fill I knew how to pour a beer from a tap, you know, and I knew that
Or
was tricky.
shotgun one from a can?
Yes, right. But that was the extent of my carbonated beverage filling
That's cool.
experience, and I just went on this journey. No mushrooms were involved.
No,
but
nothing, no psychedelics,
no.
none of that, no special K or whatever it is.
And you continue to adapt. I mean, we went with corking for a while, went with twist capping,
Yep.
and
Yeah, and
you know,
that's
all
what-
these different things.
Yeah, we have to do
Bottles,
whatever.
cans, caps, corks,
Yep.
like pretty much if it's a liquid, carbonated or non-carbonated, your machine
We
can
have the
put it in a
solution.
container.
Yep. And we can do, and we're small and very adaptable. So like we can do custom stuff
Yeah.
too. If somebody has some oddball thing that they want to do,
They want to fill a boot.
yeah.
Wow,
I know. I just came up with that really
That's
quick.
fine.
Right.
is that your new thing?
Those,
gonna-
I just all of a
Cider
sudden,
in a
I was
boot,
like, dude,
no?
those glass boots,
Yeah.
das Boot.
That's
Avon bottles.
Yeah, whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever you want, Tommy.
We built a machine to fill hand sanitizer during COVID.
Yeah.
Local distillery switched over to making
yeah.
hand sanitizer, and they had to fill these little tiny
The little plastic bottles.
bottles.
Interesting.
Yeah, we make everything in house for the most part. So it's either sourced locally or made in house. What that allows us to do is customize the machine any way you want. So we've sold a couple of them now, where the customers reach out to us and they're like, "Listen, we're a brew house, we're a cidery, we're all these things in one, under one roof. We need something that will fill these bottles and then do these cans, and then this product goes into this, and this gets a cork, and this product goes into this, and this gets a spin cap, and so on and so forth. What can we do?" And we can design and make that machine we have. And what it works out to be is it's still one machine. The footprint's a little longer, it's a little bigger, and it costs a little bit more, but you're still saving sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars because they would have had to go out and buy 4 different machines, take up that much floor space to do the same thing now that this one machine does from us, because they were able to call us and say, this is what we want. Can you design it, and what will it be? And we say, yeah.
Yeah,
got
that's cool.
that.
That's cool. So, if people want to learn more about the microbottler and canner, where do they go? How do they find it?
You can go to our website, microbottler.us.
Okay.
You can call the shop at any time, 518-747-0626, and catch up with myself, or Jordan or Scott are here available as well. We'll give you as much info as you need. Emails are right on the website. Come directly to us. Start the communication process.
You're on all the social medias.
Not all.
That's
right?
that's our marketing.
Facebook,
the Book of Face,
Instagram.
Instagram.
We have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
What's it though? No X.
No X.
No.
X, formerly Twitter.
Right. Huh. You didn't know I was that hit, did you?
Wow.
Pretty cool.
There's a lot of things I'm finding out about you.
He's got his own Town Tinker YouTube.
That's right,
if you'd
YouTube
like
channel.
to see some of Scott's adventures.
Make sure you click subscribe.
I subscribe.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, you're the guy.
I
huh?
follow. I'm the one
Wow.
guy. I'm the one
All
follower
right.
you have.
You regretted that, didn't you?
Yep. Instantly, I started getting weird messages.
Haunting you.
Scott, 2 a.m. Guys, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. It sounds like a cool machine, and if you're a brewery, and that's real quick. I mean, a small brewery, big brewery, any brewery.
Well,
Really,
it's a funny thing, really, because we sold a machine to a division of Anheuser-Busch because they were doing like sales samples.
Yep.
So obviously they are churning out probably millions of cans a day. I don't know, but they didn't want to tear that machine down to do these bottles
Small run.
for these like pilot projects of different products. So
Yeah.
they actually bought our machine, which you would think they would have no use at all for our machine.
Yeah.
So it can find a niche in almost any size brewery or whatever kind of beverage it is.
Right. Yeah.
I have a bad habit of saying brewery, but it's really anything.
Yeah, we have a lot of customers now that have a huge automated canning line. They don't need our canning line, but they bought our machine because it'll do bottles for their sours or their specialty runs or their Christmas.
Yeah, they want to do like
samples.
seasonal, $30 bottles of beer.
Yep.
So they don't want to shut their
Where they
machine down.
dip
to
the
do that.
neck in wax.
Yeah,
and
tie a
make it
little
all-
ribbon around the top
Yeah, those
and all
are
that.
nice.
Right.
Beer always tastes better out of those.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
those.
And they're actually helping each other out. Like if one brewery or cidery or kombucha wants to do a run, and this company over here has our machine, they'll go do the run on theirs and not have to buy their own. But then
Yeah.
realize that, this is selling. Now we need our own to kind of start pumping out product, distributing.
That's cool.
So it's for everybody.
It's for everyone.
Really, everybody should
Even
own
if you're
at
brewing beer in
least
your
one.
garage and you
Yeah.
want to throw it in a can or whatever, right? Yeah.
Grab a couple of your buddies, throw in your allowance, and
That's it. Awesome. Guys, thanks for coming on
Looking
the show.
forward to your order.
Appreciate that. I know, right? I'm working on it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
for
Thank
having
you for
us.
listening, and until next time.
The superpower that every citizen has is the ability to control where they spend their time, money, and attention. By focusing these on supporting local businesses, you are having a profound impact on your friends, your family, and your local community. So if you want to change the world, you can start with buying local.